I guess I'm hitting rock as I'm drilling. So as you just saw, my drone fell from the sky. After dust got in there, overheated a critical processing chip. That was just one challenge of many challenges this past weekend, from batteries dying multiple times, to a bit doling, to a Trespasser. You'll see all of it on this episode. The easiest part was actually just building these pergolas, the pergolas themselves. Thanks to Sojag so much for gifting me these pergolas. This has been a multiple part build series, from leveling the dirt, pouring the concrete, and today let's stand up these shade structures. Also on this episode, I want to tell you how I found my 20 acres. This week marked 2 years, my 2-year Landiversary. Okay, let's get into it. We built the majority of these Sojag pergola frames 2 episodes ago, if you've been following along on this pergola build series. Each one took about 2 hours with straightforward instructions, really simple enough for a one-woman job. Until now. Now it's time to stand up these shade structures, so I hired Chris to help. Chris brought above ground pool ladders, which really aided in these steps. I brought a Phillips head screwdriver, and everything else is included. You don't need anything else for this part except another person. So we just continued to match up the letters on the instructions with the letters on the screws and the components, and stand up the 2 pergola sides, join them with a crossbar, and complete the roof frame. Now I chose black to pop on my 20 acres. Black as a neutral mixes with other colors and textures easily, so I can add on in the future. It just gives me more flexibility. You can see how easy it is for us to move, lift, and overall work with these pergolas. They are lightweight aluminum, and I read online that aluminum is better to withstand wind. I'm sure you have been able to see and hear the wind in the background on this day. It gets pretty windy in the spring here at my property, which sits in a valley. Now, aluminum is also great for resistance to sun fading, which we get a lot of here, and overall just lower maintenance. The foremost reason, though, I like these aluminum Sojag pergolas, the woodpeckers. Yeah, my neighbor built wood pergolas, and the woodpeckers have made those their home, which won't be happening here. Okay, we are screwing the metal plate for the end of the post into the concrete footings. Good. Vibrates ya. Yep. Your whole body. Damn. Nuh-uh. Already? Yeah. Level 2 is where it's at. Okay, it was real fun while it lasted. We turned up the volume, turned up the level to strength 2 on the hammer drill, and we were able to get in all 4 concrete anchor bolts in the same amount of time as it took us to put in 1 on level 1. The downside is the battery's drained, and yeah, I don't have a charger because my friend didn't send the charger with me. So, okay, here is where the challenges really start. Anchoring these pergolas into the concrete footings. I borrowed a hammer drill and impact driver from a friend, yet I did not bring the battery chargers. So we went through 2 sets of batteries. Those all died. And then we went and borrowed my neighbor's impact driver and hammer drill, and those batteries died quickly, especially when we're using level or strength 2 and 3. That's what we needed to get through the concrete. And I'm like using all of my body weight as leverage to drill down. My muscles are vibrating. It's like physically hurting my body. But that night I gathered up all the batteries. I set up an assembly line in my living room, recharged everything for a fresh start the next day. The last pieces. Woohoo! On this day, 2 years ago, I drove around to look at land for sale in Southern California. I was so tired of touring outdated, small, and lackluster San Diego apartments with a steep monthly HOA right off a busy road. So, April 17th, 2023, I edited my game plan to look at land in the area I've driven by for years on the way to Palm Springs. Okay, so this is where the story splits. There are 2 backstories that tie together, call it serendipity, both in mid-April. I remember the first time I ever drove by here. My boyfriend at the time and I were on the way to Coachella, mid-April. I was taken back by the natural beauty and said, wow, this could be a cool place to buy some land to live. See, he was more of the land type. Let's have room to spread out for projects, dirt bikes. I was the girl who had only known the triangle of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri until 1 year prior. So every California road trip, every adventure was magical for me with eyes wide open. The 2 of us met April 2015, hiking the Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico to Canada. A few days into the trek, a trail closure for an endangered frog forced me to hitchhike to the next town. A woman named Joan picked me up on the side of the highway and let me stay in her cabin. And I know this all sounds a bit crazy now, but stay with me. Fast forward 8 years to April 2023. During my annual visit to Joan, I shared my dilemma. I had enough money for a down payment on an apartment, but the choices did not excite me. So what about land? 2 days later, we drove by a few parcels I found on Zillow, and when we reached the last lot, I immediately knew this was it. I got out of the car, surrounded by wildflowers, and immediately felt peace. I said, this is my 20 acres. Plus, it's located just down the highway from where Joan picked me up years earlier while hitchhiking. Okay, I guess I'm hitting rock as I'm drilling. It's just not going the last little half. Probably I have 1 more inch to go. Here comes the big guns, level 3. Level 3 got it. So we have 3 holes left to drill, and the bit overheated, overworked, and is now dull at the top. So I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to drive 30 minutes one way, an hour round trip to go get this bit at Home Depot. And I asked one of my neighbors, hey, do you have something similar? So he is letting us borrow something similar just for the last 3 holes. But on the way to get the bit to borrow, I noticed someone unbolted my gate. So yeah, gonna have to check into that. I'm sure it is obvious to you, my frustration in that video. It was minutes after I found my gate unbolted. Someone moved the hardware up and down so they could take it off its pin. I found my gate like dangling there. And I just have all these questions. Why? Why do you need to come onto my property so bad? Why do you need to go through my property so bad? Why can't you go around? If you've been on this journey with me, you know the backstory. I just built this 730-foot fence with these gates because I've had issues with motocross and hunters, and my property backs up to an open space area. But this is a private 20-acre parcel. It's not like there's an easement or a road that cuts through. So it's just, I've put in a lot of work. I put in 2.5 months of building the fence. And I continue to develop my property. And yet someone or multiple people continue just to come on and say, well, we don't care. We're going to trespass and now vandalize your property. So yeah, just keep beefing up security as I can. When I told my mom, today is my land anniversary, my Landiversary, she asked, well, how do you feel about that? I replied, I have worked a lot and I still feel like I just haven't accomplished enough. But then I changed that. I said, that is not the narrative I am choosing. I have worked a lot of manual labor, lots of projects, and accomplished what I can in this season of my life with the money I have. Yes, of course, I wish the land was farther along, more developed, but why would I beat myself up about that? Because the overarching lessons these 20 acres has taught me, my timeline is not the timeline. Each project is a process, and the steadier you go, the better your eyes see, the clearer the vision becomes. Okay, we just finished the pergolas. It's always one of those feelings when you finish a project that you're exhausted, but you're so proud and it looks so good. I love how they look. And this is just the beginning. Like, I am gonna still do the wood slats to connect the 2 pergolas and wood beams on the side to make the coverage, the shade coverage, even more expansive. And yeah, I'm just exhausted. And you know, when this is what you do on your weekends. So your weekends, when a lot of people relax or have fun, like, I'm working manual labor every Saturday and Sunday. So I love it though. I love it. They look so good. And I can't wait to host friends underneath them at the dinner.